Okay. All right. Hey, Jenny. It's great to
Hey,
talk with you.
it's
Great
good
to
to talk
meet with
with you
you.
too. Good to see your face.
Yes. So I understand you are a leader at the Joan Effect nonprofit organization in Louisville. And I just wanted to ask you a few questions about food insecurity in the city, and kind of understand your role a little bit. So yeah, could you just introduce yourself, and tell me a little bit about the work you do?
Yeah, awesome. So my name is Jenny Baughman. So I'm Louisville born and bred, and I moved away for a couple of years, and I've been back here for 12 plus years. I have two children, a 9-year-old twins. I have a varied background. But right now I'm spending a lot of time with an organization called the Joan Effect. So it's a women's collective. It's not necessarily a women's networking group because we're all in our 40 something, so we don't need a network right now. It's more about just a bunch of women who have a lot of like common shared values and beliefs. During at the Pride Parade over the summer in Louisville, we all met and made Pride bracelets. We did a lot of different things. So just a bunch of civic-minded women. And so what happened coming out of the No Kings protests, the second one, which was 2 weeks ago, we actually, a lot of the thing about No Kings is there's a lot of people around the world doing this. But what are people going to do after that? A bunch of folks met on Tuesday, and then last Saturday, we all got on a phone call to say, like, we don't know what we're doing, but there's a need right now, especially knowing that the SNAP benefits were going to be ending, um, or on pause. Um, I think that we all just got on a call and said, let's do something. So we don't know what we're doing. Like, none of us have done something like this before, specifically, although we all do a lot of stuff. So I kind of was appointed to kind of be a food drive manager with Joan. So what we decided to do is, of course, we made some connections in the community. A lot of us already have some connections. I right now work with a couple of organizations that f focus on food injustice in Louisville, predominantly in the West End of Louisville. So historically, it's a black um, black residents of Louisville. And then with West Louisville, there's also a really big divide in Louisville. And so kind of breaking that barrier, working with that community. One of the organizations I work with is Change Today, Change Tomorrow. So food injustice and empowering um, their clients, their families, their people to giving them their own resources to kind of empowering them to, move forward. They do a lot of stuff with stewarding, um, you know, new business owners they do business development. They do health services. They have child stuff. But what I have been focused on is food. And they have a program. I'm bouncing a little around here a little bit,
Hmm.
Jack, because I'm so passionate about it. But Change Day, Change Tomorrow, what they do is they have these like grocery pop-ups Monday through Thursday, and we actually get all of our donations are from Trader Joe's. So we
Hmm.
get like the next day food, stuff that hasn't spoiled yet, but isn't going to sell, but is perfectly fine, especially for people who have nothing and are just hungry, especially for fresh food. So it's four different community centers, um, and they have a food line. And so it's a pop-up. Some people line up for about an hour in advance. They come through. I usually end up registering them because there's a bunch of like bossy older women have very specific points of view where things are supposed to go. So I let them boss me around. And then a lot of times I just register people coming through. And talking with them. I love just working with the community and meeting strangers and talking. But they come through, they get fresh groceries, they get canned groceries, meats and cheeses. And a lot of those same people show up the next day at another community center.
Hmm.
Um, so that's where like my passion started for that. I also do some volunteer work with an organization called La Casita, primarily similar function, but working with the Latinx community in town, and immigrants. Um, Very similar program. They also do health and vaccines, and it's two amazing organizations that I feel passionate about. So, Joan, back to Joan. So we all met. Let's do something. And so immediately, like I made a flyer. The goal is we all have our own communities.
Hmm.
And yes, we can take our own canned goods and staples to an organization to donate it to Dare to Care. But we know a lot of people, and a lot of the people in the group are professionals that have people who have deep pockets and a lot of money and a lot of time. Um, so let's just tap into our existing communities and kind of pool our resources so we can gather materials, items, money to donate to certain places. So, the group all decided on one organization in town called Neighborhood House. I actually wasn't very familiar with Neighborhood House. They do also very many, a lot of community programs, but they do have a food pantry. So, but like everywhere, the food pantries are drying up, and I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but say they get, you know, 14,000 pounds of food a month.
Yeah,
I'm going to butcher this, but the last month it was 4,000 pounds of food. So as the number of people they serve, they cannot fulfill the need. Hold on
yeah,
one second, Jackson. I'm sorry. What, Finn? Is he bleeding? Okay. I'm on a phone call with he is. Can you go get your father real fast? Um, Sorry, that was my son. He has a friend over that hurt himself.
oh,
Um,
uh-oh.
so I'm scattered a little bit. I hope this is helpful
No,
information.
this is great. Yeah,
Um,
I know a lot of these organizations that you're mentioning. I definitely have heard of them. I volunteered with Change Today, Change Tomorrow too. So,
oh,
um,
good.
yeah. So I definitely am getting a sense that like it needs to be community driven efforts.
Yeah. I mean, I think that even Change Today, Change Tomorrow, they're a nonprofit or not-for-profit organization. They tapped into Trader Joe's to be like, you have food that you need to get rid of.
Hmm.
It's going to be thrown away. Let us have it. So they had volunteers that would go get the food. They also partnered with an organization in town that goes and picks up food to takes them to places like this. And I think what's really special about Change Today, Change Tomorrow is that it's not just one location that's a food pantry. They go to these different communities. In West Louisville's huge, and so they have one neighborhood, one neighborhood, one neighborhood. Also in Portland, um, different demographic, but very high need. And so they go to those community centers in the community, surrounded by houses of people in need in those neighborhoods. And what I think is really special about Change Today is that they get a lot of fresh food. And in my experience, food pantries are full of dried goods, boxed
Hmm.
goods. Um, and what I've heard also is a lot of people donate food that still need to be prepared. Like you can give macaroni and cheese, a box macaroni and cheese, but you still need milk and you still need butter
Yeah, that's true.
or canned goods. A can opener is just as valuable. So now if they get 15 cans of soup, they can actually open them. Um, so little solutions that people talk about is like the single serving cups of macaroni that you just pop the lid off and add hot water to. Um, or also things like, is he okay? Yes. Is he hurt? Sorry, Jackson. Is he hurt though, like injured? Okay. But he's just a little okay. We'll leave like it might be like 5. Yeah. No, I'll take them to grandma's. You can have some time back. Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Will you text Erin and let her know? Okay, sorry about that. We have a friend that
Okay.
had eye injury. So I
Oh.
think that's been really interesting perspective for us, especially who aren't in that position, um,
Hmm.
to 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 have to kind of like change your frame of reference of the luxuries that we have that don't seem like luxuries that
Yeah.
people don't have. And a lot of it is also assuming that people have pots and pans at home to even cook boxed macaroni and cheese in. A lot of these people are houseless, and so quick, ready to eat meals of, um, are gold. What's also been
Mhm.
really interesting is um, I've also been seeing a lot about like giving someone like birthday cake materials, like candles, a box cake, um, how and frosting is really special because they don't get to like a lot of people don't have those resources or the luxuries to even buy something that's really special that everyone has. Everyone has a birthday.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah.
I'm a little all over the place, but I think that what we've really noticed in town is so what my group has understood is that we have the capacity to do this. So our food drive specifically, it's not that we are just doing our own food drive. My easiest community is my neighborhood. Um, and um, so in higher income neighborhood. So what I tapped into my community. So I just posted on our neighborhood Facebook group. I dropped out off some flyers. I sent an email to the mass directory that we have and said, I'm collecting stuff for the neighborhood house. Bring it to my house or tell me where you are. I'll pick it up at your door. We also took a wagon around at Halloween. I wanted the kids to trick or treat for canned goods, but um, so we bring it to our house. I'll take it and I will pull it all together and then I will take it to like the Joan. We partnered with a brewery in town. We'll take it all there. We'll gather it up. We already have a box truck. 1020 is giving their box truck. We'll load it all up in one drop off. So we don't have all these people don't have to take it places. And a lot of people in my neighborhood might not feel comfortable going to the West End.
Yeah.
So make it easy and make something that makes them feel safe. Um, so that's one. But the other thing is that we're providing the assets. So here's our little flyer.
Nice.
Canva product. But here, we have all these assets. So we have a couple of different flyers. I made different Facebook posts. Like take it, personalize it. Don't even have to give credit to Joan, but here's how you do this. Again, we don't know what we're doing, but this is what we're doing to solve a need. Take it and do it in your own community. Um, the other really big pass, so that's Joan, but I'm also doing a food drive for our school. So I'm on the Family Resource Center Council, which is it's like a little board. The Family Resource Center at all JCPS schools. It's the public school in Louisville. There's 90 elementary schools, but these are also at middle and high schools. So I don't know the number, 100 and say there's almost 200 schools in Louisville,
Hmm.
maybe less than that. They all have FRCs, and their primary focus is to be the resource um, person for families at that school. So food insecurity, they all have clothing closets. I have been in there talking with our FRC, and within 30 minutes, six kids come in there. They might have wet themselves, especially the younger kids,
Hmm.
or they spilled milk on themselves. But some of them are also kids came to school with really dirty clothes that are soiled, and then they give them fresh clothes. They go wash their clothes and give them back to them. Um, and so we always have we have a freezer, and we work with Dare to Care and a church nearby to gather items, and we give out grocery bags. I forgot what we called them, charger packs. That's our mascot. Charger packs to families that need it. So I feel like right now, I think like with Joan and with school and the organizations I work with, you know, hunger happens now. I mean, obviously people need paying bills. Um, People need help with vaccines and getting diapers, but food affects everyone. And I
Yeah.
think what's been the most interesting for me as someone who is like a lifelong volunteer, who is passionate about this is um how I feel like this thing with SNAP, this crisis that obviously is not going to go away, has been like the thing that has like activated everyone. Like people who don't, this is gonna sound typically people that I know who don't seem very community oriented. This is something that has activated everyone because it doesn't affect a certain demographic. It doesn't, gender, race, or language, or even party. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
where you fall in line. This there's hungry people everywhere. Um,
Yeah,
and one more example is like um we have my daughter's, she's 9. One of her friends' name is Anna Molly, and she has two trans moms and 3 siblings. Um, and I share that only is because because of their situation, they have some challenges sometimes in the community with connecting with other people. Um, we actually had them over for Halloween last night to go trick-or-treating with us.
that's fun.
They have a rental house in the West End, or in Portland, actually. They live across the street from abandoned house. They're right next to a house with to an abandoned house. Um, both work. Piper and her wife Ruby both work. And they have 4 children, she has recently been divorced, and because of all the legal issues to try to keep custody of her children, and she just recently lost her job, so she starts a new job soon. They go to food lines. They go to food pantries. She said she goes about twice a week. Um, I mean, that's very close to home. Like, that is not some stranger that lives on the street. That is a child that means a lot to my daughter. Her family has become to mean a lot to me. You don't have to go very far to find somebody in need. I've just babbled a lot.
Yeah,
I have a lot of feelings about this, as does
mhm.
everyone.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's really really insightful, especially just because I think something we've discussed a lot in class too is how um hunger, well, what you were saying, like hunger happens now, and it really just it affects like every aspect of your life. Like if you have to work or you have to go to school and you're hungry and you're trying to, think about where your next meal is coming from, then, like how can you be expected to perform well in school and get good grades and, pay attention? So I think really tapping into like the people you know in your community. And like you said, you don't have to go very far either. And I think that's something a lot of people overlook. And so I was wondering if you could um, talk a little bit more about that and like how, because I guess you mentioned it surpasses like race, gender, party. Um, and I think especially with the kids at school as well. Is there in Louisville, is there anything you see like in particular about people who are most vulnerable or ways that you can help those people that are in need the most?
um, yeah, I mean, what I think is really there's an organization called Hip Hop Cares. So it's an
Mhm.
organization in town. It's Black led. Um, but there's a encampment or a living, um, there's some, houseless folks that live at under an overpass. You know, a lot of people would not feel comfortable going up to that group, a lot of men especially, and saying, "Hey, are you all hungry?" But you
Yeah,
can work with organizations, like, not that you don't have to do the work yourself, but you can find someone that is doing the work that you can tap into, especially if you're uncomfortable with it. Um, so Joan Effect is a perfect example. Like, we're not going to that place and dropping off a bunch of food. We're working with organizations that feed that community. The Family Resource Center is an example at school. Also in JCPS schools, all public schools, at least elementary schools, I don't know about middle and high schools, there's always been free and reduced lunch. So, that was provided for kids who were under a certain income threshold. Also, we have at my children's school have like 25 McKinney-Vento students, and so they come from families that are homeless. At my child's school. Um, but I think after COVID, it might have been every elementary school, every child. gets a free lunch. So there's no more coming and giving cash. They have to give a number just for tracking purposes, but they really promote it, like especially right now. Breakfast is free for everyone. Lunch is free for everyone. So at least children who need it. I mean, some kids like to go through because they might be giving cinnamon rolls out, but every child that needs it has the opportunity to get it. Um, the Gotta have, what was the question about like things that people are doing? Um,
Yeah.
I think I mean, this is kind of off topic, but I think I mean, there's one thing to but provide the food. Like I personally haven't taken any food anywhere. We're in a position that we can donate financially, and we already make donations everywhere. Not everywhere, to a couple of different organizations. I've named a few. Um, what I think is also educating people to remind them that a lot of employers match donations. Like Steve's company matches 100%. So if we give $200 a month to La Casita, they're getting $400 from us.
Wow.
Um, Also educating, and a lot of times you have to submit the receipt to your employer and then they have to like process it, but like we just changed it recently that it comes straight out of my husband's paycheck, so like they process it on their end. They trigger it. Also, I think what's been really special about this situation, and I'll admit I wasn't super familiar with SNAP, and like I learned that a lot of organizations are or companies, like there's a market in town and a lot of theirs supporting local farmers. But what I didn't realize is they also have a little grocery in the back, a market. And of course, everything's so expensive. You buy local or fresh, you're going to spend $12 for a thing of fresh local milk, where you could go to Kroger and get organic milk for $3.99.
Hmm.
As I think more people are willing to do that to continue to support local and local farmers. But what's really cool is that a lot of places it's called like double points, and some places even triple. So the goal is like um, you can go here and maybe I have $20 to spend on my Snap EBT card. But if I present it and I buy stuff, they'll double that. So the government state has done it so you can, my $20 that I spend, they actually get $40 of items. And sometimes some places are certified to go triple. So if I have $20, I can spend 20 bucks, I get $60. And it's not just like being kind. It's like the state is subsidizing these places because ultimately every dollar that someone spends buying local is supporting that farmer. It's like it's providing.
Hmm.
So they've subsidized it because that money that you're investing in local, you're investing in. Um, so the person gets a lot, but then it just helps with the whole economy. And those are the kinds of things that people like me don't think about or worry about. Um, and I think that what I think that's just as important as this is how are we on time? Are we about to run out on your timer?
I think we have like 8 more minutes.
Okay. I
So,
think it's also education is super important right now. Yes, we need to donate stuff, but educating each other and ourselves about the fact that like what SNAP is and what food assistance looks like, um, and why it exists. Because I think that's just like Piper and Ruby, the family I just talked about, they both work, but they don't
hmm.
make enough money to support their families and still pay rent at a very cheap rental house. Um, she mentioned the other day, like food banks. She was like, I have to conserve gas. I can't drive to the place another part of town because I have to drive my kids to and from school every day. I have to be thoughtful about that. Um, so, educating people, especially people like me, who that it's not people who don't work. There's like whole this the misconception that I think we all know now is because someone needs food assistance, it's not because they're lazy or they don't want to work. I mean, there's always going to be a place in every system that someone's taking advantage, but there's such that's so not the the reality, but that's what people who don't believe in this stuff focus on. Um,
Yeah.
so educating each other, that's not the reason, that's not the case. And even if it was, like there's this whole thing too. I'm guilty of it. I was 15, I was bagging groceries at Winn-Dixie, and I would never have thought about this, but people were using, they had coupons back then. I'm 46 years old. And I remember the cashier working, she was an older woman. She judged the person coming through what they were buying. And I think also, and there's a part of you like, yeah, well, why are they buying Pop-Tarts? They should be buying like fortified cereal and fresh food. But it's like everyone should enjoy a luxury of eating a bag of chips. It
Yeah.
shouldn't just be for people who are fortunate enough to be able to buy a bag of chips. So it's just, I think it's just educating and moving things around. I think just that's just as important right now as feeding people. Well, no, feeding people is a priority, but the trickle down can be just being better humans and being more compassionate, understanding. And I think right now, especially locally, I mean, all you do on social media is you see people donating, people making their own drives, companies, and I just hope it continues because a lot of stuff fizzles out. But I hope this problem's not going away. And this isn't even a new problem. It just
Hmm.
happens to have a lot of attention due to our administration and all the changes.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's definitely become a more prevalent issue that's been brought into the spotlight. I was wondering, could you walk me through a little bit about what because I understand, well, it seemed like a couple months ago there was a lot of legislation that was targeting these SNAP benefits, and now with the current government shutdown, and these SNAP benefits like on the chopping block, what does that look like? Is that people aren't receiving benefits, or how
Let
does
me
how's
close
that
this
playing
door real
out?
fast. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding. I also thought that there wasn't funding for SNAP, and I realize now, I mean, this is me just even 2 weeks ago. I thought there was not funding for SNAP because they're prioritizing money, but the money's there. Like the system was designed to not run out of money. Like it was
Hmm.
emergency fund. But I mean, I'm going to butcher this, is that, the administration is choosing not to release those funds during the shutdown. Like they're basically like holding it for ransom. And then, I think that even, the Speaker of the House was admitting, like, if we start feeding people, we won't be able to, we're not holding the Democrats, we're not holding them accountable. So come to the table, then we can talk about it. No, they're using, it's ammunition for them. We can't,
Wow,
it's
that's
pressure. Like if we continue to withhold these funds, we're what we're doing is going to pressure the Democrats to come back to the table. So they'd rather make people hungry than work with Democrats and make some concessions. So that's disgusting. But the whole point was, yeah, so I think it's understanding that the funding is there. The funding's there, it's just not being released, or being reallocated. Um,
mhm.
and I thought it was opposite. I thought it was the funding isn't there. And that's not correct.
Yeah. That's really horrible.
And fortunately, I will say, fortunately, in Kentucky, we have a great governor. I mean, you know this. We have a great governor, Andy Bashir. He is a Democrat, but he is in a Trump Republican state. He has won 2 terms, even with that.
Hmm.
I think he's Christian. He talks about his Christian values a lot, which is very appealing to a lot of folks that might not be necessarily agree with a lot of his principles, but he's a good man
Hmm.
that has his faith that doesn't mean anything to me, but it means a lot to other people. So luckily, he is someone that is activating and encouraging and helping, trying to start some, make some policies and decisions to make this problem, to help this problem while it's such a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um,
I know
well,
we about time, but
yeah, well, I was just gonna, I think you answered a lot of my question. I think you gave a really comprehensive perspective into just the different community engagement, like outreach that's being done, as well as how that intertwines with some like state programs in schools. And I think there's a lot of moving parts going on, and I think now with all this recent political pressure and stuff, the gears are really turning in the system for
yeah, and
the better.
it's I hope it's woken, made people wake up to
Yeah.
and also realize that like sometimes it's easy to be like, well, I'm just one voice or I'm one person that can't do much. And even if you affect two people, you know, it's a pay it forward system. If we all pay it forward, one person, that one person will help. A lot of people that I met at Change Today, when I asked like, how did you get involved with Change Today, Change Tomorrow? They're literally like, I used them
Hmm.
before I got back on my feet. Like I was the person going through the food line. Um, and I'm gonna start to cry. Um, yeah. So it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's I think that I love that you're asking about these I think these questions. Um, and hey, I know college kids don't have a lot of money, but if you have like I don't know if you're doing a club or your bros before you go play football. You can always not go to the houses that don't have or drop some flyers off at houses around your neighborhood that aren't a bunch of college kids and do even if you collect 20 canned goods, it's something.
Yeah,
And that's what we're hoping people will do.
definitely. Well, it looks like we have less than a minute
Okay, okay.
on the call. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I really appreciate your expertise
Oh,
and perspective on the issue.
yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, you're so welcome. If you have any follow-up questions, just hit me up. You know how to reach me.
okay, I
Okay.
will.
All right.
Well,
Good
thank you
luck,
so
Jack.
much. Happy Halloween weekend.
All
Uh,
right. Thank you. You
I
too.
appreciate it. Okay,
Okay. Bye.
bye.